What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We finally have a nice day here, so I decided to take the MR2 out for a drive. And today I want to talk about the 5 things that I love about this car. And that's specific to this exact car. I'm not talking about MR2 turbos in general, I'm talking about this exact car. And so I thought, well, it'd be kind of fun to do a 5 things I love and 5 things I hate video about this car. I think they're kind of played out, but I guess this car is kind of unique. Maybe people will want to watch it. I don't know. So the first thing that I love about this car is the straight line performance and handling. This, in a nutshell, this car is an absolute riot to drive. Even if you're not pushing it to the limit, which honestly on the street, you can't push it to the limit. This car is way too sketchy to be doing that. But actually, you know what? Instead of trying to explain it to you, let me just show you. Let's cut to the clip. So yeah, not only is it great in a straight line, but it's a really good handling car as well. And I think that sets it apart from a lot of custom cars. So yeah, a lot of modified cars will do one or the other well. They'll either be great in a straight line, or they'll handle really well, but when a car can do both, I think that really makes it stand out from the crowd. I say this as a good thing, and like I said, it's the thing that I love the most with the car, but driving this car is an experience, and what I think is a great experience and a lot of fun and exciting, other people would be pulling their hair out and think this car is a complete piece of junk. And actually somebody commented on my night run video and said that they could tell that the setup on this car was not what they wanted on their car, on their MR2. And at first I thought, well, it's kind of a rude thing to say, but then, you know what, I don't blame you. This is not for everyone. I mean, this car's got a crazy clutch in it, an old school, lazy, big turbo. It's got no idle control, so you have to basically treat it like a carbureted car when you're starting it. This is not a daily driver. But I'm okay with it because that's not what I need for this car to do. If this was my only vehicle, it would not be built the way that it is, not even close. But this car, the whole purpose of this car for me is excitement and fun. And so if it was just a turnkey, comfortable, simple car, I think that would be boring for me. I've got that in the 4Runner. I don't need another one like that. So that's one thing that I would not change about this car at all, is the way that it drives and the way that it performs. I love that. That's my #1 thing that I love about this car, is that every time I get behind the wheel, it's exciting. It might not be for everyone, but it's certainly for me. So the #2 thing that I love about this car has got to be the stance and the overall appearance of it. I think this is just a very pretty car. And in my opinion, the definition of a beautiful car is one that looks good from any angle that you look at it. And so this car is definitely falls into that category. But yeah, the stance of this car, the way the wheels fit, the ride height, it all works together to make it look, I think, really good. And so I'm happy with that, and People make fun of me because when I'm outside of the car, I can't stop looking at it. I've had this thing for, what now, 12 years maybe now? And even still, I just can't help but stare at it all the time. So I guess that's a good sign. Speed bumps are huge. Are they even speed bumps, or is it just the ground heaving? So the third thing I love about this car, believe it or not, is the interior space. Now for a car this size, you would think it would be cramped inside, but it's actually the opposite. I mean, I'm about 6'3", and I've got lots of room in here. I'm super comfortable. I've got probably 4 inches above my head, and then maybe 6 inches on top of my knees here, which is, I think, pretty incredible for a car like this. Now, in comparison, a buddy of mine has a Honda S2000, and they're basically, as far as dimensions go, they're the same size car. If you park them side by side, the overall length is about the same, the wheelbase is about the same. They're very similar. And when I sit in that car, first of all, I can barely get into the seat, and second, once I'm in, I can't get my feet on top of the gas pedal. And so I think that's pretty impressive for a for an early 90s sports car. To have this much space inside, I think, is pretty remarkable. I would almost go as far to say that the seating position in this car is more comfortable for me than in my 4Runner. It's a little bit more laid back. The 4Runner is more upright, and I feel like I have less headroom in the 4Runner, to be honest. The fourth thing that I love about this car is the fact that it's one of a kind. Like, this is absolutely one of one because of all the rare parts that are on it. It's cool to know that even if somebody had all the money in the world, they couldn't duplicate this exact car, because some of the parts were at such small production runs that if you didn't get them then, you're not going to get them now. And when you combine a whole bunch of those parts mixed together, there's a lot of rare Japanese parts on this car. A few rare American ones, I guess, too, if you talk about the tilt and clutch. But yeah, between the wheels, the clutch, the differential, a bunch of the other kind of rare Japanese parts, it would be next to impossible to source all of those things again. I mean, the clutch is one of 5, differential is one of 2 as far as I know. So you're not going to be able to just go online and purchase all those parts again. And I really like that about this car because it's the only one. So the fifth and final thing that I love about this car, well, I shouldn't say final because really there's probably an endless number of things that I love about this thing. But number 5 is the car insurance. And you might be wondering what's so special about that, but hear me out. This car is a 1991 model, and it's also highly modified. Now, for most car insurance companies, vehicles 15 years and older qualify for classic car insurance. And so if this was a modern, newer car that was modified this much, if I could even get insurance on it, most companies wouldn't even touch it. It would be fairly expensive. Now, because this is a classic car, and I had it appraised, and it's now insured for the appraised value, and not only is that a bargain, but the insurance company knows about every nut and bolt on this car. So there's no chance of them finding out that it was modified and canceling a claim or something on me. There's no chance of them dropping me because they didn't know about what was done to the car. And most importantly, if something ever happened to this car, everything is documented. And I wouldn't have to worry about them just replacing this with a completely stock 1991 MR2. Because whether I like to admit it or not, I've spent a lot more money on this car than just going out and buying any MR2. To give you an idea, when I first purchased this car, just for a short amount of time, I had it insured as a regular car. And I looked at the replacement value of it that the insurance company figured for it's just a 1991 Toyota. They didn't think it was anything special. It's $3,000. So if this car got stolen or written off, they were going to write me a check for $3,000. And realistically, I mean, that would cover 2 of the wheels on this car. So classic car insurance is an absolute lifesaver. I'm a huge fan. It feels good knowing as I drive the car around, it feels good to know that it's protected. Uh-oh. Oh good, he's not coming after me. I wasn't really speeding too much anyways. So there you have it, folks. Those are the 5 things that I love about this car. Only 5. I mean, I could probably go on for hours, but those were the 5 biggest ones that came to mind when I was thinking about it and decided to make this video. So stay tuned for the inevitable 5 things I hate about this car, because you know I've got to shoot that video then too. So stay tuned for that, but thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.